So I would ask, what else was my actions not matching my words? Because I was forward with you the entire time. And I do want to preface, I don't think Chelsea deserves any of this heat. And I didn't view Chelsea, even in my relationship, as her insecure. I didn't view that. All I knew is when we laid our head down at night, no matter what type of argument we had or we had a good day, there was so many good moments that weren't shown. When I looked her in the eyes, I could tell that she was there for me and she meant me and loved me unconditionally. And that's all I could ever want.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Butt 91. Listen, I am joined by Love Lens Reviews. Listen, it's one of those, I like to call it, surprise moments. I was streaming, I was kind of streaming and kind of searching the internet after watching an interview by Nick Vile where he was talking about Jimmy and talking about Chelsea. And I watched the interview, and I have to say, I was a little bit disappointed in Nick. I felt it was a very biased interview. One of the most biased I've actually seen from him in all the interviews I've ever watched. Like, he's usually quite reserved in terms of like which side he chooses. He kind of asks really good questions on both sides, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if Chelsea got into him. I don't know if Chelsea sent him a pay packet or something. But he was deep 10 toes in, along with the two girls that he rolled with today. They were rolling like gang. And that interview was one of the most biased interviews I've actually seen, and it was so biased and so bad because there were actually a lot of questions that weren't necessarily asked or answered, or certain answers were given that looked a bit I'll give you an example. For instance, the question about him having the best friend who's obviously had sex with, and then not asking Chelsea about the fact that her ex, she called him the day after they got together to call your ex to tell them, by the way, I want you to meet my new man. I just don't think it registered how mad that sounds. But we're going to get into all of that as well alongside this conversation. Like I said, I'm joined by Love Lens Reviews. We're going to chop it up today. Captain, how you doing today, man?
Man, I am having fun, and I will say that was hard to watch, to see how biased, and uh, to easily see he had an idea prior to doing that, and no matter what he heard from Jimmy or Chelsea, he was going to seek his idea throughout, which was, I'm going to make Jimmy say there were other reasons that Chelsea acted that way. So we'll get into it.
Listen, you nailed it on the head. Just before we get into anything though, let the people know, because I know you've got several channels actually. So I went through one or two of them as well. So obviously this is one of your channels as well. So let them know about Love Lens Reviews. What do you do on there? What kind of content you kind of produce? How long you been doing it for? Let them know a little bit about yourself, Cap.
Gotcha. I've been on YouTube for quite some time. I've done hip hop, mixed martial arts, but I'm most known for doing true crime documentaries. And while doing this, me and all my friends watch Love Is Blind. They've been wanting me to make a channel for a while. I've been watching Little Black Book, watching other YouTubers, watching my man Tate's Tate, watching Pay or Wait. And every season, I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And I finally decided to make this channel where I'm gonna review content dealing with relationships, mainly Love Is Blind, but all relationships. And so it's an honor to finally be on your channel after being in your comment section for so long. Salute, appreciate that, and just to be in the sphere with all of you guys putting out this content.
Love that, Captain. Listen, we ain't gonna waste much time, man. We
Yeah.
gonna get straight into this. You know what I mean? Because you know, I'll produce some clips in a second or two. But what was the most glaring thing for you? Obviously, having watched the interview of Nick Vile, Jimmy, and Chelsea, what was the most kind of like standout thing for you?
It was the simple fact that Nick didn't have anything concrete to go on. And also, when Nick realized that the phone call that Jimmy had with Chelsea happened after all of their arguments on the show. The phone call where he's in the bed and he's on FaceTime and he's saying he's sleepy, but a lot of people are over. I felt like Nick wanted so badly for that to happen earlier, and because that would have been concrete evidence of why Chelsea was acting the way he did. But when he realized that this was afterwards, it should have been a sign for Nick to ask, okay, Chelsea, what did happen to make you feel that way? So that just really rubbed me the wrong way.
I definitely agree with you, and I think that was one of the parts that also I always noticed as well, is that the premise of the attack, or as I said, the premise of the direction that Nick was actually coming from, was
Mhm.
that he was really hoping that that conversation, was predating all the madness as to why she behaved the way she behaved. And I'll actually play a clip because Jimmy picks up on it. He says, "Well, actually, everything you're saying doesn't predate what she did already. So
Mhm.
while you're, what other actions are you telling me that I did that caused her to behave the way she did?" And I think that's that was one of the scariest things for me. And shout out to Jimmy for actually picking up and not actually going at Nick, because if it had been me, I'd have told Nick,
Yep.
you know what? Can I be honest with you? You know you're being biased right now. I'd have called him out right there and then,
Yep.
and I'd have told him straight. Listen, what you're doing is from it's fugazi, because your whole premise is actually predicated on this conversation, which is, if you don't know the conversation, there was an interview that Chelsea did quite recently on another channel actually, and she spoke about it as well. How Jimmy called her out of the blue, he butt dialed her basically, and as he butt dialed her, he was he was meant to be at home, but then she heard voices. He was going out. He was going to be drinking. He's going to be out with friends. Dagga dagga dagga. Right. But that conversation happens towards the end. So she's already done all her madness.
Yeah.
Like that conversation happens at the end, and Nick was trying to hold him accountable to say, like you were saying, almost to say you've caused her to feel this way. That's why she's been insecure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing that got to me is that it's very simple. Nick cannot answer the question of why because Chelsea has never answered the question of why. If you thought that was the reason that, okay, there's a reason Chelsea did all of this, and you find out that this happened afterwards, then you should ask yourself, okay, why should Jimmy come on here and apologize and say there were other reasons? Why do you feel that way, Nick? Nick can't answer that because out of the tons of interviews Chelsea's did, she still literally has not said a single reason or a single thing that Jimmy did to make her feel that way. And I personally don't think she can answer that because these came from insecurities and unwarranted attacks.
Absolutely. Let me see if I can find a clip that will kind of speak a little bit about this. Actually, I've tried to put the footnotes. Hopefully, we'll play exactly.
Delulu or
Yeah.
crazy, and that your
Right.
actions led to some of this behavior that we didn't get to see.
My point is that was one action, and so that was later on the experiment. So I would ask, what else was my actions not matching my words? Because I was forward with you the entire time, and I do want to preface, I don't think Chelsea deserves any of this heat, and I didn't view Chelsea, even in my relationship, as her insecure. I didn't view that. All I knew is when we laid our head down at night, no matter what type of argument we had, or we had a good day, there was so many good moments that weren't shown. When I looked her in the eyes, I could tell that she was there for me.
So as we were just talking about, that was exactly what you're talking about, which is that he and I kind of cut out the clip at the beginning. I should have played it from there, where Nick actually started off by saying she felt the way she felt because of, and tried to pull it onto Jimmy, but Jimmy kind of sort of was like, what more do you want? The conversation was after, you know what I mean?
This scares me because the most dangerous thing is a bunch of people justifying a bad behavior. Because when people feel justified in their behavior, then they're going to continue to do it, you know, uh, in the way that they can view that other person. Uh, and it really scares me when something is so simple. Why are you saying all of these gajillion things instead of what did Jimmy do to make you feel this way? Why are you bringing up the past? Why are you bringing up that he went partying in college? Why are you bringing up he trying to go to Vegas? You're trying to throw everything at the wall. But if Jimmy did something, just say what Jimmy did. That's how I was looking at it. You muted.
That was really cheeky. Sorry, thank you. That was really cheeky because in that situation, what happened is that he did he tried to say to Nick, try to almost like, it was shady. It was actually a shady comment because he called him and said, "Oh, where are you now?" And he was like, and Jimmy knew, so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna be at a party or whatever, blah blah blah," and and literally, he calls him out saying, "Well, the people are gonna know, so just say where you are, Jimmy." Da, 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 da. And it's like almost trying to like calling out because of what Chelsea had said about him going out to party. The reality of the situation is, and then Chelsea also added onto it a little bit later on by going on saying, "Oh, I had a friend message me, and basically the friend told me that, I can't believe you chose Jimmy. He goes out a lot." Define what a lot is, because your a lot is not my lot. What do you mean by a lot, right?
No.
Because what we saw on the show is if I say I went out once and you think that's a lot, or if I say I went out twice or 3 times and you think that's a lot, what does a lot mean? Do you know what I'm saying to you? And I think that's really interesting that it got to that point where you're hearing Nick and Jimmy, well, Nick almost kind of, I would even like to say Nick was even taking over Chelsea's role. At one point, it felt like, I don't think even Chelsea was even trying to be involved. Like, she was like, "What's going on?" She said, "What's going on here?" Because Nick had taken on the baton to become a fighter, and I don't know why he had that in his head. I don't know what got into his mind that he decided he wanted to fight that particular fight. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I would hope that the motive came from a good place. Like, hey, a lot of people on the internet are beating up this lady Chelsea, and let's help her out. Okay, that's great. But you want to be effective when you try to help someone out. And if you try to help the person out by making them feel justified in unwarranted behavior, you're not going to really help the person. The fastest way to help the person is to get them to see reality of what's going on so they can correct their mistake. So if that was the case, I can understand what he was trying to do, but what he was doing was wrong simply because to date, through every interview Chelsea has ever had, she has still not said one single thing that Jimmy has done to lead up to any of those arguments. That's all she had to do. But that I want to also say too is another dangerous thing is the audience, because when an audience they jump on and say, "Okay, we want to vindicate Chelsea, so we got both Chelsea and Jimmy here, so let's make Jimmy look bad." When they hear my friend said he went out partying in college, that's all they need to make Jimmy look bad. But if you just sit down and think about it, everybody partied in college. What does that have to do with him while they're on the show? I partied in college. I don't like going anywhere right now. Like, what is that? That doesn't solve anything. And then why are you pointing out that he partied in college when you could just point out when he went out while he was with you? It's crazy.
You ain't telling no lies. Let me play a little bit more of the clip than they can see.
What other specific moments did my actions not match my words? Because everything we saw on camera was after that. But and I've apologized. We've had this conversation, but
yeah, I mean, listen, we know that even on the show, like timelines don't always match up, and again, things can be shown out of order. It's just more as your friend Chelsea. It's just like, are you willing to say, "Listen, I regret some of my decisions. I would have done things differently. We all make mistakes, but Chelsea is justified in some of her feelings towards me based off of my actions," rather than letting the audience decide for themselves whether she, was losing her mind because of her own insecurities. You get what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, yo, I don't know. I watched that clip several times, but it always comes back. The way he was like, yeah. But again, I mean, it goes back to that point that you see what he tried to. It's very clever manipulation what he did, and I don't think Nick's I've watched a lot of Nick's content, so I don't think he's intentionally trying to do this, right? But when you're trying to prove a point, you can get to a manipulative place. So what ended up happening is that he used a very clever word. He said, "Oh, your friend Chelsea, you should have been, you basically should come out and say that you caused her to feel the way she felt so that she doesn't look so bad because that's your friend." You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, no, we can validate feelings without actually validating the actions that you took. You know what I mean? Like, you can feel some type of way. That's normal. It's human being behavior. You felt the way you felt, but I can't validate your behavior. Like, if you, and what's happening now is that I'm starting to see how this is now looking like an abusive situation. Because what you're telling me is that I can't feel like you done me dirty. The evidence is being presented, and let's be honest, Love is Blind, Ready to Love, a lot of these TV shows that have dating on them are geared towards women. They're not geared towards men. So when they are making villains, men are very easy to make a villain. So the fact that they've done a whole show and the villain is a woman should tell you very, very clearly that more than likely there's nothing else to talk about because the shows are geared towards women. So the story showing us her behavior on the show, I don't know what you want them to show. If he was doing stuff behind the scenes, he told a girl about the girl behind the scenes. She brought it on camera. So it's like you're doing things. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but the fact that we just saw that little clip there where he tried to get Jimmy to apologize for something that I haven't done is actually a manipulative tactic that manipulators end up using, especially in relationships. If you found someone who's got manipulative tendencies, they'll end up making you apologize for stuff you didn't actually do wrong, just so they can feel vindicated in what they've done to you, and be like, "See, he apologized for this, or she apologized for this." So it's not just me; it's both of us. And it's like, no, it's you. Like, me apologizing doesn't mean that you know what I mean.
Yeah, watching that clip back actually makes me think that Nick did it on purpose, bro. And it's kind of is really scary because, like, really think about what we just saw. The entire season, the reunion, everything goes back to we want to know did Jimmy do anything? Jimmy is right there with Chelsea, and he's calmly asking her, you know, that happened afterwards, and even afterwards, I apologize for that. But everything before, what did I do? All Nick had to do was be quiet. All Nick had to do was not say anything and allow for Chelsea to answer. And let's be real. If you ask a woman a question like that and you did something bad, she is coming off fire rapidly to say everything that you did. But Nick jumps in and changes the subject. That was a change of subject. Jimmy's asking, what did I do? Nick comes in and says, basically assumes you did a lot of bad stuff, so just apologize now. Why would Nick want him to apologize when they're right there at the cusp? I mean, he's asking her, name one thing that I did, and she can't name it. So how can that not be on purpose? It's almost like he jumped in and like, if I give her time, she's going to mess it up. So let me save her. So if it makes me feel like he did that on purpose. I don't know. Like,
I like to hold out that he didn't mean to, but yeah, I can't argue what you're saying. I can't argue that point either. Do you know what I'm saying to you? I think that
all of us
you
wanted
the
that
point.
answer, man. Everybody want
We
that.
really
That's
did.
the critical point, right? In that line right there that Jimmy asked her, and we didn't get it.
We didn't get it because there is no evidence. Like you said, there is none. If there was, it would have been able to be said. Or even if the person said, "Do you know what it is? It's like it's hard to explain, but let me try and explain." She didn't even bother trying to explain, like because there's nothing to explain because nothing that he did was the cause of that. And so in reality, the situation when you look at it, it's like if there is something that he's doing, let's call it out. Right, like, and Nick didn't have an answer because she couldn't give an answer because she didn't have one. So if she's a source of the manipulation, she couldn't even explain what actually happened as to why she felt like she was done so dirty or was manipulated in that situation. So Nick couldn't give him anything. So all, like you said, in the end, Nick has to resort to, I know her story, and I know she was done dirty without actually there being any facts. And sometimes that happens with friendships as well, because sometimes we take somebody's side because we like them or we know them or whatever. But we don't actually ask them, let me, hold on, I'm your friend, but let me ask you some tough questions before I go firing in. Because if I go jumping in there for you, I need to know I've got all my facts straight. And sometimes we do this, both men and women do this. It's like, you just go in, all guns blazing, without actually finding out all information. And sometimes you look like a fool after when you tell you more information out. So you ain't gonna tell me this information? Why don't you tell me that this happened? Like, come on, bro. Like, it's like, nah, bro, you got me messed up now for you because you didn't tell me the full truth. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do honestly feel like some of her friends on the show feel that same way. I felt like, you know, they weren't there with Jimmy and Chelsea. They could only hear what Chelsea told them, and
Yep.
Chelsea can be persuasive and give off this air
Yep.
of confidence that she doesn't really have. And if you're only talking to her and never seeing her in these clips for an entire year, because look at their reaction on the reunion, like, we had no idea like she could act that way because we only see confidence. So of a whole year, they've been believing that Jimmy possibly have been this person that's going out partying and doing all this stuff, and then they see a different story. And also, I try to look at what's happening on the same frame. Like, there's no jump cut, there's no anything. And in the same frame, such as Jimmy saying, like, well, I kiss you here, I did this right here, she's not disagreeing. So that's
Yep.
evidence that Chelsea has it
She
in her
agrees.
to not see something that's not there. So you can't blame editing on that if it's in the same frame.
You ain't telling no lies, bro. You ain't telling no lies. Let me play a bit more of the clip.
Yes or no?
I mean,
This is weird. This is. What do you mean?
Are you talking
You
to
know
me?
your actions.
Oh yeah, okay.
what other actions though?
Oh, your words were not ever
My point is
matching
what
them.
my point is what everybody saw on camera happened before the only action you brought up.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, for example,
Okay, before it gets to there,
Mm-hmm.
that is a prime example of what we're talking about. Did you see what she tried to do there? What she did there, and then what the girl also did is prime example of what you were saying, right? So in a sense, what happened was they wanted him to say what he did, and he's like, okay, so what did I do? And she's like, wait, this is so weird. What do you mean? You know what you did? What did I do? Like on real spit, what did I actually do to you? Because I'm confused as to what you're saying. You can't mention it. I can't mention it. You can't even say like, oh, but when, or even give an example. Like, what about that time when you're not even giving me that story to at least be able to say, let me contradict that because that's not what happened. We're still going off the base of the butt dial conversation. Nothing new has been added. And now, as soon as he's like, no, but what else are you talking about? That's when the girl jumps in and she's about to ask another question now. She's about to now deflect the situation to another conversation about the female best friend, which again is going to be another one of those situations where they don't ask the questions correctly and they only answer it on one side. Go for it, bro.
Yeah. I'll just say this quickly. I just try to look at evidence that people already show that they do. Chelsea quickly brings up, you caught me clinging. She brings it up over and over again each and every time. So Chelsea, when she feels a stinging pain, she's going to blurt out the specific thing that caused her the pain. So that's a part of her personality. Why can't she name one thing that Jimmy did? You know, you can't say like, oh, well, maybe she forgot this or forgot. No, if it hurts her, she's gonna say what hurt her. Another thing you can't hide behind. Oh, well, she don't want to say what Jimmy did. She's trying to protect Jimmy. You can't try to protect someone who's sitting right there in your face and saying, say it. Say it. Say what I did. So I don't know.
It's crazy.
Just want to throw that out there, man.
Yeah, no, you're on point.
you said you have a lot of friends that you wanted to introduce Chelsea to. Why did you choose two female friends, one of which you've had relations with? And like, did you tell her about that before she met the friends, or did you tell her about that after?
Now let's pause it here. The reason I want to pause it here is so that anybody watching, I'm going to play the clip more. I just want you to pay attention to what was said. The question is, she's asking him, did you tell Chelsea about the female friend that you slept with before or after she met her? Because she's asking, because she wants to nail him as well, right? So she wants to get him, right? And this is how journalists work. This is how journalism works. So I understand. I'm not mad at it, right? She wants to nail him. So I want you to watch what's happening. This is the reason why we think this is a very biased interview, because once somebody is now going to explain it and tell you something different, what do you next do in that particular moment, right? So they ask the question, is it before she met the friends or after she met the friends? Because if he told you after the friends, then he's done you dirty, right? So we're going to find out what he's going to say. Let's see what he says.
I told Chelsea as soon as I got my phone back, because she saw her texting me, was super curious. I told her the moment we got our phones back.
So it's before she met her?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like, but do you think that, because I mean, the argument that you guys got into with everything, it seemed to me now justified a little bit, because out of any of the okay, I guess my main question is why?
There you go. There you go. She couldn't follow the line. Do you see what I'm saying? She realized that. Wait, hold on. Wait, you said hold on. My brain couldn't compute that. Wait, hold on. You mean you said it before? I mean, she's still justified in what she said. No, how's she still justified if he told her before, right? And this is, first and foremost, I think anyway, it's a bit mad anyway that he brought a friend there, but he's gonna explain that too. But I personally wouldn't have done it. But I understand why he's brought a bunch of people. So it's not just one person. He brought a bunch of people. Editing has focused on that, which I understand too, but I think that's very clear what's happening there. Go for it, Cap.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to reveal everything. You let it slowly come out. So I'm just gonna say
it's beautiful how it comes out.
I don't like to assume bad things about people, but when your actions are to ask a question you already had in mind, you leave me no choice but to assume you wanted Jimmy to say that he didn't tell her until after he met her. You wanted that. You guys are like, when you do journalism, you just ask the question and they give an answer. I don't have a way that I want you to answer it this way so I can keep going with my preconceived notions. They were completely biased. They did not want to hear. It's like they were upset when Jimmy would do things of moral character. It's a good moral character to tell your fiance up front before you meet anybody. And then now it messes you up because you can't go down your line of questioning. So that's all I want to say for right there.
You ain't telling lies. Let's play it going.
Did you choose those two friends of all the friends to bring on the show to introduce her to?
So the closest person to me had, I think, 7 people brought on the show outside of like weddings. I had 11 people. I had 6 friends, and 4 of those friends made 2 different appearances.
Okay.
I'm gonna pause it there just so that I want people to stay with the story, just in case you're missing it. They asked him a question about, so why did you bring those 2 girls to the show? Which I asked as well. I asked myself this when I did my review. I was like, why those 2? Why not even 2? Why that one girl that we all knew? We could see it in her eyes that there's something else going on there. Why did you bring that one girl? He explains and says, hey, look, you know what? I actually brought 11 people. Okay, so I had a bunch of guys who actually brought through. They were on camera too, but they focused on those 2 girls. Right, so everyone got some camera time, but those 2 girls got the focus because, again, I guess it, like he explains it, it links back to part of the reason why, not all, but part of the reason why he also wanted to say au revoir at the end. Not the reason why, but part of the reason why as well. So he got to answer it all the way through. So I'm going to let him answer it all the way through, and you can see what we're saying.
They highlight, and that's just the guy friends.
Yeah, okay.
They highlighted the women.
That makes sense.
Because they highlighted the women. And truthfully, both of those women, like they knew that, that person knew that how risky it was for them.
Right.
But that person didn't want me to tell Chelsea right off the bat. And I wanted Chelsea to know because she needed to know every inch of me if we were going to do this. And, maybe got set up a little bit to bring the women on camera. But, like, it's an expedited process. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just throw every woman out of my life just because, like, I've found a fiance in 2 weeks? No.
So, because it's going to get to the next part of it, what's your thoughts so far on that?
They are trying to blame Jimmy on something they should be blaming Netflix for. He bought a bunch of different people on, male, female women, and Netflix decided to focus on that, which makes sense to me because Netflix are wanting ratings. If Chelsea is showing signs of being insecure and their cameramen are catching this, yes, Netflix is going to focus on that. But if you're wondering the motives of Jimmy, his motives are, I'm going to let you meet everybody because we're getting married. And those 2 women were not more important than his other friends. They were all equally important to Jimmy. So he answered her question. It's not going to work out good for him, but he answered the question that they gave him.
And he answered it well. I think he answered it and said what he needs to say in that situation. They're going to go on, because they're going to now talk about the other parts. I'm going
to introduce her to all the people that are currently in my life and the people that are go to battle for me and the people that love me and care about me. I wasn't having a physical relationship with them at that time, and I just was it to her the moment I got my phone back and the moment she asked about it.
That makes a lot of sense. So just to recap, it wasn't just those 2 friends. They were one of many friends, but as you know, like you didn't control how things were aired, and they highlighted those 2 friends.
Yeah, and it makes total sense why they highlighted those 2 friends,
Sure,
considering it's the emphasis of our breakup. But it wasn't fun. They both came on with pure intentions to help and support me. I was going to a reality TV show and I was thinking of like getting outfits together and all this stuff. I was leaning on them a lot. They did me dirty with the first day outfit. We can all agree to that. But they helped me religiously. At any moment I had a question about something, or if I wanted to like learn about the show, I don't watch reality TV.
Let's speed up a little bit.
I went through and people are gonna have their own opinions, but I didn't view Chelsea as an insecure person in our relationship. I still don't view her as an insecure person.
Okay.
And
great.
so it's one of those things where it's too juicy to not add in there. But I had a bunch of guys on there. Like I had the most guys of any of the guys.
Okay.
And I have a bunch of friends, and it was appropriate for me to make. Being a very fast experiment, I thought it made so much sense for her to meet them prior, and then I'm willing to take a step back. But I'm not willing to take a step back when it's being thrown in my face, and we're pointing fingers, and there's no physical relationship. So like, there's a lot to it.
So question. And I hear you, Al, and I understand that this isn't exactly real life, but like, do you see, but people watch it as real life and try to compare it to the real life. So my question to you is, had you and Chelsea worked out? right? Do you think, just in general, going forward, you and Chelsea aren't going to end up together. Someday you'll find the love of your life. You'll get into a committed relationship. Do you expect to maintain those friendships with those women? Because listen, I get it. As a single guy, when I was single, I had plenty of platonic friendships with women. But then once I entered into a committed relationship with someone, like it changed the dynamic. Like, do you acknowledge that that's going to eventually change?
I do. And
Okay, so because this part gets hella funny when it starts. What's your thoughts, Cap?
Jimmy answered the question like that.
Yeah.
It looks as if Nick and his team has his playbook, and they don't care what he says. They're gonna follow this playbook because he answered. He told them how he felt, and he was saying that he's going to cut back and he's not going to talk to them so much. But I don't even know if he was talking to them a lot during the show because Chelsea hasn't said anything. She still hasn't given any details. But the man says he cuts back on talking to his friends like we all do. I have a best friend that's a woman. If I'm single, she wakes up, the first text in my morning, Buenos Dias, tell me what she's cooking, and we text and chat all day. I get into a relationship, she gets into a relationship. It's a natural, you're gonna cut back.
Yep.
Jimmy said this. So it's like it comes across as if they're just trying to find a way to just trap this guy and grill this guy. So it's just dishonest to me.
You're telling lies, bro. There's a little bit more, so I want to get to it because he explains a bit more.
Both of them acknowledge it too. It wasn't one-sided. I've had conversations with them about the moment that they have someone in their life that they feel special. It'll probably be weird for that person to be
you, but I'm not going to do this for you. But also, like, you have to decide whether to get married to me, and that will be real regardless of the show or not. So you were basically saying you're not worth it for me to do this, but I would do it for someone else outside of the show.
No way. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because it's so expedited, I'm going to unload the house and introduce her to every single person that has any impression of my life.
No, I get where you're coming from. I'm saying, do you understand where Chelsea's coming from? Because
I do understand where she's coming from. I think our story is so unique in the fact that, like, I don't think that there's a wrong person in it. Like,
Jimmy said,
she broke a level of trust for me, and I totally understand where she's coming from. Like, she was weak and she was vulnerable during that night. That's not really shown, and so I would encourage people to give her grace.
Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea. Okay.
Maybe one too many espresso. What was it? 30 martinis, Chelsea. I'm sorry.
Chelsea, what do you got to say? Jimmy's been talking a lot. What do you got to say, Chelsea?
I think it's just go into the co-ed relationship. It's not the girls being the friends. It's not any of that bothers me. What bothers me is that there was zero boundaries and there was zero respect. So when it came to them and her and I, like, I've apologized to her. I've reached out to her. I feel so sad that I brought her sex life into the world. So it's not even the fact that they had a relationship. It's just I wasn't getting the respect that I was giving him. So it's just interesting. And, I was trying to see past it to the point where, he was asking them for like relationship advice and, stuff like that, where I love that he has people in his life that love him because he is so wonderful. But where do we draw the line? Because just like you said, like, we're trying to get married. Like, yeah, if you're not willing to take a step back, do I say yes to you? Do I say no to you? Are you going to be are we going to be in couples therapy with her? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, how do you get married to someone who's like, listen,
I think this is where it's really cheeky.
Why did he ask him that? Why I don't understand. Why did he ask him? Why did he ask me that? Are you going to respect her like you would someone in the real world when Jimmy just said, when getting into a relationship, I cut back on talking to my friends. It's like I don't know. What you got to say about that, man?
I mean, listen, I think it's quite interesting, right? Because it got to a point where they start asking her the question. Well, Jimmy's been talking, so let's get your point of view. And she says about the respect thing. The reason why she was pressed about it was the respect thing. And my first question that was going to come to my head was, well, so what was disrespectful about the communication? Because we actually don't know. We just know that all she ends up saying is, it's great that you have friends you can ask relationship advice from. Well, that's what friends are for. It's da-da-da. And so again, we still don't actually know the actual reason. What is the issue? Because what it's sounding like right now is when I said about Chelsea, I said that from early, that first argument that they had, I said, I know this energy. It will isolate you very quickly from all your friends. she will dim the light around you completely. When people are insecure and they're heavily insecure, you see, it's really easy to spot men. Like we just had a conversation about LeRon on Ready to Love. It's very easy to call out men. If he's insecure, he gonna beat you, he gonna do this, he gonna do that. You quickly catastrophize. You guys know I always mess up that word, but testosterone, I don't know how to say, but you now know what I'm talking about, right? You take it to its farthest hill. But when women do it, it's like, well, she must, and that what Nick is doing, which is she must have a reason why she's doing that. No. The reason is it's outside of Jimmy, right? And now what's happening is you can't give me a full-on reason as to what the respect is. What's disrespectful? Is it that she was messaging him at all times of the night? Because if it is, then you could have said that. Is it the fact that they were having inappropriate conversations? Could have said that. Is it the fact that, that she you saw a message and she said, I'm not stepping back. Did you see that message? What was it that you're saying? Because all you said is it wasn't respectful. Okay, that's all we're hearing from you is that it wasn't respectful, and so we're trying to find out what wasn't respectful. And then you mention how it's great that you have friends that can help you with relationship advice and everything like that. But is she going to go couple counsel with us? So she's already deducted from just you asking questions about relationships that it's now an offense. That is an indication that someone's going to dim the light around you everywhere you go. The lights are going to go doom, 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 doom. Before you realize it, you are lonely, isolated, and no one else around you. And now you can't ask anybody anything because she's cancelled all your friendships, like it's a bad membership. That is a very dangerous place to be in.
Yeah, I try my hardest to find the evidence, the cause of why you're feeling the way you feel. So the only thing I'm left to go on is that he goes to them for a relationship advice. We saw on Love is Blind, she had two of her girlfriends sitting out on the balcony with her, and she was telling them all kind of things about her relationship with Jimmy. Why can't you talk to two people about your relationship, but Jimmy can't talk to anybody? I would just start with that simple question. Why is it that you can fall in love with a man, go on a vacation with him, fly back, and then pick up your phone and FaceTime and tell the details to your ex-fiance? Like, who is overstepping these boundaries? I have nothing else to go on because that's all that you've said. And I think in another interview she had with one of her friends, she did an interview with one of her friends, and that was no, I think it was the same thing. She was just like, he talks to them about relationship advice. What do you want me to do with that information? If that's all you're willing to give out, then I'm going to say that you're being insecure. I'm going to tell you what I think the country or the viewers are having a problem with. And this happens in real life, right? If let's say you had a stalker, right? It is easier for a person to believe, hey man, she just like you a little bit. She's not really stalking, because it's hard for us to conceive erratic, behavior. Our brains are going to automatically go to what's normal first. So that's what people are doing. They're thinking there gotta be something, because no one acts like this. They don't understand, out of this billions of people on earth, this is one of those cases where someone is that insecure. And so Jimmy's having a hard time because he's making it worse, because he's taking up for her. He said, I never thought that she was insecure. That's what I think's happening.
I'm with you. In fact, she's going to address the ex situation right now.
I will not stop hanging out with my girlfriend who I hooked up with.
I will add, and he brought it up, like I have a friendship with my ex-boyfriend, so there's no, I wasn't trying to be a hypocrite, but I respect Jimmy, and I wasn't, I FaceTimed him when I got engaged because I was so excited for him to meet Jimmy. And we have this we have a good friendship. He's married, has a baby, and I was very respectful of Jimmy, and I'm not texting him, I'm not calling him. He was in a different state. It was just, respecting of, hey, here's this new journey of my life, and I want you to meet him.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to.
Now, I need to ask this question. Why the heck would you, no, I just need people to deep this. Deep what she's really saying. Like, think of what she's really saying. She's telling you that she has an ex who's married, by the way, has kids, that she was going to, as soon as she finished the pods, person one of the people she thinks is important enough to give a call to. One, I'm not gonna say that's the first one. We don't really fully know, but one of the people that she feels is important to give a call to is an ex who's married, who's got kids in another country. Baby, it's not that you can't message him whenever you want. That wife also is doing the same thing you're doing, which is she ain't gonna let you get to her man. You understand what I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. So when you telling me that and saying, "Oh, I respect you," that's why he doesn't message me every time. No, baby, he doesn't message you because he's got a wife at home and got some kids. It's not because of you. Let's not try to play it like that. And that's what I'm saying about the madness. And no one asked her a question about this. Go for it, Cap.
All right. You ever notice like someone may want to put you down in what hurts them? They show what hurts them. So let's say they value money, so they put you down and call you broke. The same thing can come with insecurities. She just showed us she's insecure because she wanted to point out that her fiance is married. Why does it matter if your friend is married or single? So when she says he's married, she's pointing out that Jimmy's friend is not married. When she points out he's in another state, she's saying Jimmy's friend is not in another state. She's showing us what she's insecure about. His friend is single. His friend is right here. I'm afraid. That's what I got with what she was saying right there. Because why would it matter if you were saying that it's okay to be cool with exes or people you mess around with? And this is childish, but I've always said this. Like Jimmy had sex with this girl one time. You had sex with your fiance 1,000 times. Like he should be the one like having crazy images and stuff in his head. You've done everything under the sun with your fiance. He had sex with the girl one time, but I'm saying she showed us what she's insecure about.
And I'm with you, bro. And I think it's just wild to me. It's wild to me that I just need to play the clip again because I think it's so wild. Like when I heard it, I was just so wild because they don't challenge her on it. That's what makes it even more wild. Let's just play it again.
I timed him when I got engaged because I was so excited for him to meet Jimmy, and we have this very we have a good friendship. I have a friendship with my ex-boyfriend, so there's no I wasn't trying to be a hypocrite, but I respect Jimmy, and I wasn't. I FaceTimed him when I got engaged because I was so excited for him to meet Jimmy, and we have this very we have a good friendship. He's married, has a baby, and I was very respectful of Jimmy, and I'm not texting him, I'm not calling him. He was in a different state. It was just a respecting of, hey, here's this new journey of my life, and I want you to meet him.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to bring that up.
Jimmy,
I'll say the day we had a really bad fight. We had probably the
I'm trying to understand why. My brain can't compute that when I get out of a pod that I've been for 2 weeks or less, right? I've not had my phone. That one of the people that I feel is important to call is one of my exes, who's married. I just need you to fully deep that as to why you're making a big deal about this girl. By the way, listen, if you want to say about his friend being too close, I'm not gonna fight you. I'm just saying that it's wild to think that you think you have a moral high ground in a situation when you are coming out of a pod and the one of the people you want to call straight away is an ex who's married, got kids, and then you tell me you have a great friendship. Why? Why do you have a great friendship? I want to know. I want to know why he's still servicing you. We need to start questioning him as well. Why has he got such a great friendship with you? What is the need for that friendship that's going on there? I'm not saying people can't be friends with their exes, but the guy's married now. So much so that he's married that you now know he's across the seas, he's elsewhere, and you still have a great relationship. Why? To the point you're going to call him when you get out of the pods. Now, if I'm the wife, I'm going to start looking at Chelsea too, and I'm going to start looking at my husband as well. Because I'm going to be like, wait, why are you so important that she gets out the pods to call you and ask you that question? What does it mean? Like, and too many people think about sex in a particular way, but you have to understand as well, men and women, how we operate when it comes to, I like to call cheating, especially, right? That when women like to cheat, they start on that emotional stuff. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And that's me being stereotypical, but it's just like they start on that and that emotional stuff because you can't question them on that. Oh, we're just friends, we're just cool, but this is madness. To think you can be in a space where you can actually call your ex after you've gone out of the pod. That means he's a very important person. He's very close to you, because that shouldn't be one of the people you're calling. And you wanted him to meet. No, just deep this. She wanted him to meet the current man. That's wild to me, bro. Wild to me. Talk to me, bro.
So what did Jimmy do that was different then? So he's in another state. If he wasn't, you would have wanted Jimmy to meet him. So Jimmy wanted you to meet his friends. And the crazy thing is Jimmy's getting grilled right now. Jimmy left the island and got a text. She left the island and got a FaceTime. He got a text and she got a FaceTime, and she has a problem with his relationship. And then, like I said, he saw his friend once. He let her meet her once. He's getting grilled, like they're just trying to build a case for him. And it's going to plan, I guess, because the comments in the video, they all on Jimmy.
I mean, and I think that's, proving the point, which is that, unfortunately, because they don't question her on it, we don't, that narrative doesn't change because they never question her on it. But you wanted to question Jimmy about how he should know that he should have stepped back with that girl. And I'm saying to you that if that is the case, you should also be questioning Chelsea on this ex situation, which for me, I questioned it on the show. I said, why the hell was she so good friends with her ex in the first place? I was like, if we're going to be questioning Jimmy about potentially having a best friend that he slept with or whatever, you got to question her too about the ex. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. And it's not about frequency. It's simply about someone there having loyalty lines and having lines with people when it comes to boundaries. It doesn't matter whether they're in the same country, doesn't matter if they're in outer space. You have a boundary that you're not keeping. You know what I mean? Go for it, Cap.
Yeah, no, I forgot his name, who had a successful marriage on this season. What was his name? The one who didn't want to use the condoms.
Johnny and Amy.
She said that Johnny broke up with her in the past because he couldn't accept the fact that she was close friends with her ex-fiance. Yes. This guy is so close that she's telling everybody that she date how close her and her ex-fiance is. So one thing, I think you're right. The time that they have apart is because he's married, right? But she is in a relationship with Jimmy, and she's telling Jimmy it's cool. She's telling Jimmy's friend, we're going to be homegirls. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So I said to myself, you're either know that he's texting her because you're going through his stuff, or he's doing it in your face. If he's doing it in your face, it's because you have let him believe that it's okay. You told him it was okay. So, I don't know.
I ain't lying to you, Cap, for real, fam. For real. I think there's one or two more pieces of the thing. I didn't like the fact he took accountability for the Megan Fox situation. I don't know how he can take accountability for the Megan Fox situation because, it's not him. But I understand why he did it. You want to protect, but I just don't. I don't think you can.
My reaction. Yeah, my reaction that made it all blow up. And I was, I don't know if it's a Walmart wish or I said less Jack version, but I did say that. But
less Jack version.
Chelsea also put clarity on she doesn't look like Megan Fox.
No, we know.
My reaction. Yeah, my reaction that made it all blow up. And I was having fun. I was 6 beers deep in there. I was doing my thing, and she said that, and it's my fault. And so we've talked about this. It's it's funny. It's not funny for her. But I think
it's funny. It's funny at this point.
I think our saving grace.
So he's and this is why I'm saying that it gets dangerous because you start trying to find bridges where you can try and cover the bruises, right, and cover some of the cracks and the wounds. So now you're gonna listen. Don't get it twisted. Of course, his reaction. We all saw it, right? But the reality of the situation was, right, the accountability is not on his side. It's not on his thing. She said the thing about Megan Fox, and the reason why we're stressed is not because of his reaction. We're stressed because of what she said. It was nothing to do with reaction. Listen, don't get it twisted. We all saw the reaction, and we know that potentially could have swayed him. But the reality is, we weren't focused on that. We were focused on the fact that she even breathed the words. Some people have said to me, I look like with my eyes or whatever, I look like Megan Fox. That's on the audience for misreading what she said, because she did say specifically about her eye is the eyes look, and we took it as she just says she looks like Megan Fox. That's an audience accountability. That's not on Jimmy. But now, when you're in an abusive relationship, this is what actually happens. You start taking accountability for stuff that you don't need to take accountability for. There is no reason to apologize in this situation. There's none, because it was not niche. It had nothing to do with what your reaction was. We were not judging on your reaction. We were judging simply by what she said. We should be apologizing to her, if you want to talk about it as an audience, because we took your words out of context and not fully understanding it. Then Netflix should apologize to you because Netflix cut out his response where he said he looked like somebody else. That's what needs to happen. Not Jimmy apologizing, but when you're in an abusive relationship, this is what happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. When the show was airing, I know the entire world was going crazy about the Megan Fox thing. I didn't really care because I was looking at more harmful things that was happening on the screen with her insecurity. But it wasn't like let's say she looked 100% like Megan Fox. I don't care if she looked like her or she didn't look like her. It's just the fact that you're on a show about love being blind, and then you're giving away clues, trying to give away clues as to how you look. And I also think, looking back in hindsight, with the insecurity that she showed on the show, she was trying to get some leg up on Jessica, or Jess, because she showed that she was very insecure about Jess's looks.
Mm. Yep, you ain't telling lies, bro. You ain't telling lies. I think that's the last thing I wanted to. I think talking about his edit. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up as well because I think his edit was a topic of discussion as well. Go for it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
I want to say one thing, and this is what I'm saying about the dangers. So one of the comments in the chat said, defending Jimmy with how he keeps hanging and texting his hookup buddy is crazy. And this is what I'm saying. How do we know that Jimmy keeps hanging out with this person when no one has said anything? Like, they went and did all of these arguments, and Jimmy, they only agreed that he went out for an hour one single time. And that's what I'm saying, how dangerous stuff can play with your mind and make you build a story in your head. Maybe Jimmy does hang out with her all the time. Maybe he doesn't. I'm saying the truth is, which I don't know. We don't know these things because Chelsea hasn't said nothing. So I can't pretend like that's a reality. I have to go. He's sitting right in her face on the screen, and he's saying, I cut back when I'm in a relationship. I only went out that one time, and Chelsea's not giving us nothing. So how can I build a narrative that he keeps hanging out with his friend? That's all I'm saying.
I'm not mad at it. I'm with you on that, bro.
Camera.
Wait, so are you kind of pissed about, like, I feel like we were talking about this earlier, like Jimmy kind of got like a glowing edit, like compared to Trevor or
Clay.
Yeah. Do you think that's a fair, could it have gone another way?
Yeah, because Jimmy definitely looked like the guy who picked someone who had a ton of insecurities and found a problem with everything he did, and he desperately wanted to make this work, but like, you were sabotaging the relationship at every turn, and you forced him to basically end the relationship. That's basically Jimmy's edit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's also
We're shocked. All of us are shocked.
What's also weird too is Jimmy made a comment at.
I'm so confused about everyone's shots at this point. Who's shocked? I'm so confused. Like, who is actually shocked here? Like, I don't know what were they expecting. Like I said, this show is predominantly aimed at women. It's not hard to make a man a villain. It really isn't. So what else did he do that we could have shown that actually he was actually the villain? Because on all seasons, I've not been surprised when they come out and the behavior taken away. Right? Because by the time we get to Love is Blind is actually really good at exposing people. That was one thing I have to give Love is Blind. If you, like, when Jimmy tried it with Jess and said it was 10 minutes, they was like, nah. Let's play that clip. It was 2.5 hours, my nigga. You lied, right? So they're very good at exposing you when you do something. So I'm so confused as to what Nick is running on, what the ladies are running on, what she's running on terms of, well, he got a really good edit, and Jimmy was surprised got a really good edit. Yeah, no, he might have been surprised by the fact that the argument didn't make him look the worst kind of guy. But the reality is because your behavior was actually that bad, because he actually downplayed a lot of your behaviors. If he had really looked at your behaviors and gone, nah, you were really wild, he wouldn't be thinking his edit would be bad. He's thinking it's bad because he downplays your behaviors and goes, I'm probably going to look like a bad guy by me saying that you're clingy or by me saying I don't want to have sex with you. But in reality, people were glossing over that because your behavior was so mad and maligning, we couldn't look at anything else apart from Chelsea. You know what I'm saying to you? So I don't understand what else you wanted to be able to say that would have made him... what would have made us look at him differently and compare him to Trevor. Trevor is in his own league. Jeremy's in his own league. These people are in their own league. We don't compare Jimmy to these kind of people. You know what I'm saying? Even Clay didn't even get some of the edit that Trevor and Finn got because they were doing things. That's the whole point. Even Trevor's edit was even nice. It wasn't even a bad edit. So what are they talking about? Go for it, Cap.
All right. So if someone does something to me, I'm just going to say what they did to me. I don't understand all of this, but look at this this bowl that Chelsea throwing everything in the bowl except for what Jimmy did. She's throwing into the bowl. Look, he's about to go to Vegas. She throwing into the bowl. Look, my friend said he went out in college. Then in this interview, Chelsea's going to say, she's going to wait till Jimmy leave, and she's going to say, because this one time we got into an argument because all the other guys on the show was going out one night, and Jimmy wanted to go out. If someone is doing something, you would say, so now you're throwing in he wanted to one night. And this is something every cast does. If you think that Chelsea is not severely insecure, ask yourself this. Why on every season of Love is Blind, the girls go out or the guys go out, but the only person that has a real severe problem with this is Chelsea? Why is all of this being thrown into this bowl except for what Jimmy did? That's just weird to me. That's just weird to me.
Yeah, and you know, again, Nick didn't once more kind of highlight some of the craziness of the fact that their brother's making comments like, "I've been at home with you all day," like, and you getting stressed about you going out for an hour walk or whatever. "I've been with you all day," or "when I kissed you," and none of those comments were picked out by Nick. It's almost as if he wanted to do a vendetta piece and kind of free Chelsea. You know, that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? She's in prison, free her. But unfortunately, just like those brothers that do free them, a lot of them have done the crimes. So they need to do the time. And it's like, you know what I mean? So in this situation here with Chelsea, talking about this glowing edit, they've again once more handed her a narrative. Once more again, like you're saying, like they're handing her the narrative now. Now Nick's actually handing her the narrative. Oh, he got a glowing edit, you know, and then Chelsea jumps in. Yeah, he got, and all the girls are surprised. Why? I've not heard any of the ladies on any of the interviews talk about Jimmy being a bad guy or anything like that. In fact, even your best friend AD was even considering dating Jimmy. You can't tell me that he got a bad edit or he's being bad in the situation when even your friend AD's even considering it. To a point they had to ask him on the show, what do you think about AD? And he was like, yeah, I don't want to say it in front of her. Because we know why. Because we know why. That's the one part I will give her. She at least saw that, do you know what, there's chemistry between the two. I'll give her that one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that they saw the show and saw what Jimmy was going through and saw that for an entire year they've been listening to things that Chelsea told them, but they're starting to see that things may have been different. Jess said that. Jess went into the same Nick Val interview, and she said that Jimmy lives in the going out district. Okay, did he go out? Did you go out and party and see, you know, Jimmy all over town and doing all of this stuff during the actual filming of the show? It's like everything is thrown out there except for the details. So if you're not going to give me details, I'm not going to vilify somebody. The energy that Nick had on his show was he almost came across as if he talked to Chelsea and Chelsea told him all of these details. And he was like, I'm going to vindicate you because this is not fair. And I would have been cool. I'd have been on Nick's side. But without those details, I don't know why you did that. I don't understand, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just think to myself, you know, also, what last part I want to bring it on to is this part here, actually, because this part absolutely finished me when she said this. She said this part, it killed me. And we'll probably have to end on this because the hour's coming up, but...
Situation was like horrendous. But I don't think, you know, I went in there, like I said, I was there, guns a-blazing. I put everything of my being into this experiment. I just don't think he was ready for, obviously, a marriage.
Do you think he ever was?
I don't know.
Because didn't I see something on the internet of him being like, now I realize I'm not only not ready to get married, but I'm not ready to have a girlfriend, like date at all.
So when we dated for our, you know, long treacherous 4 days, it was so brutal. But he broke up with me. I remember I was at the pool and he called me again. I gave him, you know, this was like the 4th time he told me he didn't like me. Like, come on, girl. So he calls me and he was like, you know, this experiment made me realize I don't want a relationship at all.
Chelsea, do you think you would have said yes had you guys made it to the altar?
So at that
did you not hear what she just said? Did you not hear what he just said? He told her 4 times in 4 days he ain't like her. And you asking would he have said yes to the altar? He said no. He didn't even want to go to the altar. He didn't even want to even do that. The guy spared her. You know what I'm saying, Drew? That's what I'm talking about is tapped. Go for it, Cap.
She literally just showed that she drove a man to not want to be in a relationship. like that's all I heard was I put this man through so much hell that he was like, you know what, this just remind I don't got what it takes to be in a relationship. That's all I just heard.
I'm not about it.
Yeah, like if everything I'm being scrutinized and looked into it, I can kiss somebody 4 times in one day and they can say absolute words like never. You never kissed me. You never did that. How many times did she say these absolutes when we saw with our own eyes what happened? And then y'all want to try to build a narrative that she's not insecure? Man, get out of here. Like, yeah, I can. From what I saw, that's the one true statement she just said right there. He said he didn't even want to be in a relationship no more. Darn straight.
Yep. Go on about your business. End on this last part, because this part killed me, because Nick just had to get the last shot in, didn't he? That's how I knew that the interview was really burning. I don't know what Jimmy done to him, or I don't know what he's saying, because it seemed personal, bro. Like, this is
of the show. And I say this as someone who's got a lot of fucking heat in the past, and it's going to pay dividends just how well you've played the criticism that you've received, and how much willing you've been able to just have fun with it, and how gracious you've been to some of your peers. I think it will definitely serve you well going forward. And I think your friend Jimmy could take a few notes, because I do think he's well intentioned, and I do think he, like everyone else, is just trying to navigate this very crazy world. But I think instead of trying to thread the needle, because even said, it's like he it was almost lost on us, because he did say, Chelsea's great, Chelsea was right, but it's like we had to almost pry that out of him. And
that's how I felt.
And it followed him trying to justify it, being like, well, the timing was off, rather than him coming on and saying, listen, at the end of the day, she had valid reasons to be upset with me, and that wasn't shown. We don't want to hear.
No, because he didn't say that. That's the whole point. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, do you know how mad that is? That even at the end, he's still trying to shoot man down, like gunning man down, bro. Talk to me, bro.
And like I said, hey, Nick, I'll keep it simple for you. Why do you feel that way? What happened in their relationship of all the big arguments to make you feel the way you feel, to say that about that guy? I don't know anything else. Is that simple. The man came on your show. The man said directly to Chelsea, can you name one thing that I did to make you feel that way? She couldn't do it. When he broke up with her on the show, and she accused him of something when she was sitting there after he said he was done. And she said, I feel like I was walking on eggshells. He said, could you name me a reason? She was stuck. She couldn't name anything. Whenever it comes to the details of what happened in their relationship, Chelsea can't name a single thing that the man did. That's all it comes down to. So I can't follow this narrative that Jimmy owes her an apology because he did things. Where are you getting this information from, Nick? It'd be great if you could say that. Or Chelsea.
We don't know, Captain. I can't lie to you. We don't know, but I think it's important. I think it's a very important situation to kind of highlight as well. That had the cameras not been there, we would, what would have been a narrative that would have been spun, because in this situation. We see how, and I've said this as well, I can't believe Chelsea because she's got we've seen on camera that she has an ability to be able to accentuate a story well beyond its means. And so in that instance, unfortunately, I can't believe when you're off camera that everything happened the way it does. Now, Jimmy did admit the butt dialing situation. He admitted that he wanted to go out. But can I just say this? If we felt like Jimmy was being abused, you would never accept the story being the way he told it or the way it was. But it's because we don't see Jimmy as being abused. But when you see a woman in that situation, you're going to be like, well, of course she went out because you know what? She was just so scared and she had to just get out and be with her friends. But when I looked at it, I was like, yeah, the reason why he didn't tell you he was out with friends, because if he tells you, you're going to blow up. And actually, that's abuse. If I know that your reaction is going to be very egregious to the actual situation, I stop telling you things. I'm afraid of your actual response. And since we now know, based on camera, her reactions to certain things, that it can be very explosive in that same fashion, why would he tell you that he's out? Why would he not lie to you? People start lying to people when they start realizing that I can't tell you anything because I'm scared of you. So in that instance, I get it. Go for it.
I got in trouble because I went out with my friends for 1 hour. I got in trouble for kissing you multiple times, and you said I didn't kiss. So if I'm getting in trouble for no reason, I'm definitely not
Multiple
going
reason.
down the aisle with you. I'm just gonna not say anything to you and just go hang out with my
Silent
friend.
slide out.
Might as
Yeah.
well. I'm getting accused of it anyway. That's what happens when you continuously beat somebody down.
You ain't no lies.
So
Listen, audience, we thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, shout outs. We had a thing from Fef State says, take into account that they are trying to rehabilitate Chelsea because she's getting mad at hate online. So they are pushing a narrative to endear her more to the public. Not fair, but that's why. And I'm just gonna say,
I agree.
I believe that I agree that 100%. I believe it's because, you know what's interesting? I'm not saying, I don't want to say it, but there's a reason why they want to back her. You know what I'm saying to you? Because it serves a no purpose to try and rehabilitate and spin the whole narrative, and that's probably why they never asked no questions on the reunion. But this is very dangerous because when somebody has behaviors that are destructive, you now trying to rehabilitate them. It's not you lying to them about what they did. It's actually saying, listen, you've actually got set of behaviors that are mad. Let's actually really look at this now and let's highlight what's actually going on and bring to attention what you actually did. It's not about giving her a 2-hour interview and then telling her, actually, your boy did something to make you mad. You're going to make the person even more mad by telling them that they were valid in their madness. Oh, no, you weren't mad. He did something to make you mad. That is a level of madness that she's going to... So they're not rehabilitating her. They are molding her into a more madder version. And so this is not rehabilitation at all. You don't rehabilitate somebody by telling them lies, right? So this is dangerous. Like you were saying, brother, beginning, it's a very dangerous place.
Yeah, the final thing that I'll say would be, you're offering her temporary relief. She's going to feel great. The internet's not coming down upon her, which I don't want anybody to be bullied anyway. I don't agree with that, period. But like, I'm more worried that if I see these severe insecurities and how she puts it off on the other person, the smile that can come over her face to be like, I was right. All these years, people try to make me seem like I'm the crazy one. I was right. So she's going to do it even harder, which is how I kind of felt about when she said that she was married before. Typically someone like, oh, you was married before? What happened? Oh, they cheated on me. They instantly say, but when someone's like, it kind of just didn't work out or something like that, could be more to that story. There was some insecurity showing then that pushed him away. I don't know. But be careful with that because, you can give her temporary relief, but she's just going to get hurt again in the future if the real issue isn't fixed.
100%. And I think, like I said, I just feel like this is very dangerous. And I feel like, the fact that she's getting this kind of push, because we definitely saw it on the reunion. Definitely. I don't know why they didn't ask no question. I'm not going to say why. I think I know why. Like you said, they were trying to literally rehabilitate her, but it's just crazy to think that she's getting that edit, and it's given. And I'm going to say it's given that this is because of some. I'm not saying the racial stuff. You know what I'm saying to you. And the reason why I say that is because previous season we had somebody else go through something. It was old girl Zainab.
Yeah.
And her madness was exposed. The show completely obliterated and exposed her because she's not white. I have to I want to make it very clear. When we talk about white, we're talking about there's a white. You know what I mean? So she passed as a white, but you know her ethnicity wasn't white. So this for me is pointing out to the fact that this is given some kind of protection because of racial aspect, because when it was a situation between her and the guy Cole, they absolutely obliterated her by showing it on the live, showing it on the thing, and playing music behind it, and we all were cussing her out, and she was getting absolutely harangued. There was no beautiful edit. There was no interviews that were coming out to try and save her or whatever. You know what I'm saying to you? I remember I actually got in contact with Zainab about the situation. I actually got in contact with her. We were going to have a live, and it didn't actually happen because I think, and probably for the best, because I want to ask some questions. I would have been mad. Fair enough.
You wouldn't have liked your questions.
Yeah, she wouldn't have liked it, and I understand that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So the fact that Chelsea's getting an interview with Vile and he's behaving the way he's behaving is given my peoples are coming to connect. I just want to, just saying.
Yeah, and as far as the editing goes, when I look at the things that they've done in the past, right? So Marshall uh, going to get his tuxedo, and then Jackie meeting up with the guy upside down ears. What's his name?
Oh,
But look at what they did with the editing, right? They're saying Jackie was fighting, saying like this didn't happen at that time. This happened the day afterwards. Well, we found out from Marshall the day before she was mysteriously missing. No one knew where she went. She said she was going to see her dad with the way she was dressed. So it's saying like that's the day that she got with old boy. So the storyline still played out the same. You left Marshall there and you went out with someone else. They didn't go and try to change a complete narrative at all that Jackie is this super nice person. So I'm saying that they're not completely changing narratives where they go, you know what, man, like we got all this footage of Jimmy being a horrible person. Let's just cut all of that out and let's just build Chelsea into this insecure monster for no reason. I've never seen them do an edit that crazy. There's always truth in what they've been showing, and that's coming from interviews and other castmates in the seasons. So
you ain't tell no lie. All right. I've got one more to read. Chelsea admitted that she would still date him if he wanted to. The discrepancies between her words and actions are scary. She's still not healed, pretending to be fine when she's not lying to herself. Fifth state. You ain't tell no lies. You ain't tell no lies. Listen, audience, it's been a go for it. You want to say one last thing? Go for it, Cap.
I just say, they're friends right now. Chelsea and Jimmy is friends. So if he dates somebody,
friends, yeah.
He's the friend. Chelsea's the friend now.
Let's see if she steps back. Audience, thank you so much for coming through. We appreciate y'all for joining us, having a conversation with us. It's been a great collab. There'll be more coming, I'm sure, as well. And I really appreciate you, Love Lens Review. Just quickly before we go, let them know where they can find you. I know you've got some other YouTube channels as well. Just so that you can plug yourself and just so they can actually, get in contact with yourself as well, Cap.
Yes, I just put my Instagram and my true crime stuff handles in the chat at John Crimes, and then all my Love Is Blind stuff will be on this channel, Love Lens Review. So come check me out, and I'll be doing this from now on.
Love that, Cap. Thank you. All right, audience members, thank you so much. We'll see you again very, very soon. Monday, tomorrow, we've got a super panel for Ready to Love. So if you do love it, we've got the official Ready to Love super panel. You guys can join in and be a part of that as well. It will go members only, so just be ready for that. We've reached past 600 plus members now on YouTube. So thank you so much for that, guys. We really do appreciate that. It's a blessing. And we hope for more of you guys to join us in those shows. Much appreciation. We'll see you again very, very soon. Much love.